All right, all right, all right. Welcome in to another edition, episode 3 of the Undrafted Analyst. I am your host, KB. For those of you guys listening on Spotify, welcome in. For those of you guys listening and watching on YouTube, welcome in. I'm very excited to be doing this, to keep on doing this. I really want this podcast to be something. Eventually we'll have guests on. Eventually we'll add more to it, more editing to it, and more sounds and things like that as I learn how to run a podcast. But for now, I just really want to make something where I could vent about football, talk more general NFL football, and also give you guys something to, I guess, burn time with. Maybe you're cleaning the house. Maybe you're washing the dishes, maybe you're taking a drive, maybe you're working, maybe you're on the computer, maybe you're running errands, whatever the case may be, you have football all the time with this podcast. So that being said, I do have a couple of topics here, and as this podcast grows, we'll have more and more topics to talk about. But I do want to keep these podcasts to like 30 to 40 minutes just for now until the audience grows, until we can get more topics on the show and keep the podcast relevant and interesting, right? Because I don't want to be ranting for an hour and people aren't interested in that. So that being said, I chose a pretty good topics here. All right, but before we get into that, if you guys are enjoying the podcast, if you're enjoying, maybe you're watching on a video clip later on, make sure you guys hit the like button and also support on Spotify as well if you guys are interested in that. But, before we start, I'm just going to show you guys the shirt I'm wearing right now. If you guys are watching on YouTube, the shirt I'm wearing right now, as you guys know, I am a postman. I am a rural carrier for the post office. So I'm a mailman, essentially what I am. And, we don't really wear uniforms as rural carriers. And, it just so happens that, there's a funny story about this hole right here. Just so happens that I was on my regular route, the route that I'm pretty much on most of the time. I'm a sub for any of you other post workers out there. I'm a sub on my route, and I wound up going over to this house because I needed a signature for a priority package. It required a signature, and my scanner doesn't allow me to scan the package without a signature, so I had to go over there, ring the doorbell, knock on the door, wait for a reply. If nobody replies, if nobody answers the door, I then leave a slip, leave a notice, and, go on about my day. They could pick it up at the post office. But this particular person was home, answered the door, and as I go to, ask for a signature on my scanner, his dog proceeds to go through his legs. Well, at first, the dog is not successful, right? The guy, he's moving his legs around, flailing. He's like, hey, stay behind me, la, la, la. The dog gets a little aggressive, but I'm thinking, I like dogs. Dogs usually like me. But I don't know what it is about being a mailman. You don't even need to wear the uniform. The dog just automatically dislikes you. Like, I really get along with dogs very well. Big dogs, small dogs, medium dogs, pit bulls to chihuahuas. I mean, they love me, and I love them. I love dogs. But I don't know what it is when you're on the clock as a rural carrier, or if you're on the clock as any type of carrier for UPS or FedEx or post office, they just don't like you. So this dog proceeds to come at me, and I'm thinking it's excited to see me. It's excited to see a visitor. And for the most part, it was in the beginning. And I stand at 5 foot tall. I am not tall whatsoever. And I mean 5 foot flat, straight up 5 foot, not 5 foot anything, right? Not 5 foot 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, right? Just 5 foot. And so this dog is like a medium-sized dog and stands on its two hind legs. And with its two hind legs, its head is about up to my chest area right here, right? So it stands up, puts its paws on my chest, and I'm petting it. I'm like, oh, nice dog, la, 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 while the guy is signing the scanner. This dog looks me straight in the eyes. Straight in the eyes. Went from nice to showing me his teeth. And as I back away, he takes a snap and actually grabs my shirt, takes a snap at my shirt, and look at the size of the hole it is. That's just one bite. It wasn't even any snagging, right? He didn't have a hold of my shirt. Dude literally just took a snap at my shirt and left a hole this big. Think about if that was my face, if that was my cheek. Crying out loud, we would have a lawsuit and I'd be rich. But anyway, because that's a federal offense. But I don't know how the post office can defend you on that anyway. But that's just the story about this shirt. We're 5 minutes in. Sorry about that, guys. It's just a story about the hole in the shirt right now. You guys may see it. I like wearing this shirt. It's pretty comfortable. So that's the story about this shirt. That being said, let's talk some football. I want to start off with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, as you guys know, the Philadelphia Eagles started Jalen Hurts against the New Orleans Saints. This was his first NFL start in the NFL. As you guys know, that Carson Wentz was benched last game. And right now, the game in which he came in for just is out of my memory right now. But he came in against the New Orleans Saints and had a stat total of 17 completions out of 30 attempts, 167 passing yards, a touchdown, and that amounts to a 56% completion percentage. He also had 18 carries on the ground for 106 yards, and that amounts to 5.8 yards per carry. He also had one fumble lost and was sacked a total of 0 times. Now, part of that is pretty much due to his really good athletic ability, and I will give him that, and part of that was just better offensive line play, and one that was very surprising because they've dealt with a lot of injuries there, and New Orleans has been one of the better teams against the passer in the NFL with Trey Hendrickson and Cam Jordan in the lineup there, and so on and so forth. So it was very surprising. Jalen Hurts is actually doing a pretty good job. He did a pretty good job against the New Orleans Saints. Now, he had pedestrian numbers, right? 167 yards and a touchdown, 17 out of 30, a 56% completion percentage. It wasn't great, right? 106 yards on the ground. He became the first player in NFL history to start in his debut game, because he's a rookie. He became the first quarterback to start in his debut game and throw for at least 150 yards and rush for at least 100 yards. So I guess take that with something, right? Now, Eagles fans are patrolling around. I see YouTube videos, I see the comments, I see the tweets, as if the Philadelphia Eagles completely fixed their problems with Jalen Hurts, as if Jalen Hurts is the answer to this. And they seem to be forgetting one thing. The Philadelphia Eagles are in a huge cap situation going into next season, and they can't do anything with Carson Wentz. So even if Jalen Hurts is your quarterback, not only in the future of this season, by the way, he was named the remaining starter for the rest of the season so far, per the Philadelphia Eagles, they announced that Jalen Hurts is going to remain a starter. This doesn't matter. Jalen Hurts starting for the rest of the season, no matter how good he plays, does not matter. Because at the end of the day, do you think Jalen Hurts is the future for the Philadelphia Eagles? And I would assume the majority would say no. Well, if he's not your future, then what's the point of Carson Wentz starting or Jalen Hurts starting? It doesn't make a difference, because at the end of the day, Carson Wentz is making not any less than $32 million for the rest of his contract duration, which ends in 2025, and has a dead cap amount next season of $59 million. $59 million next season going towards the dead cap. And now everybody's going to say, well, they can trade him. Who the hell is going to trade for Carson Wentz next season? Nobody. Nobody's going to trade for Carson Wentz next season. Like I said, Carson Wentz, his contract situation looks a little bit like this. I don't have the exact numbers right in front of me, but I have a little bit of the highlights here. His contract lasts until 2025, when he is at the age of 32 years old. At that point, he should still have some quarterback left in him, right? Now, during the duration of that contract until 2025, he will make no less per season than $32 million. So that's not an average. That's literal the amount, okay? There is no season in which his cap hit is less than $32 million. So there's no backloading, there's no front loading. That is the exact number. Because I believe this next season, 2021, I believe he makes like 34, and then next season he makes like 31, and then the following season he makes 32. So something like that. So no less than $31 million. So that means his trade value is just none. None. Who the hell is going to trade for Carson Wentz? And I know, everybody may say, well, Carson Wentz still has quarterback left in him. I believe that as well. I think Carson Wentz is not finished in the NFL. Stephen A. Smith said that on First Take. I believe Carson Wentz still has some NFL left in him, but his contract, he's not going to play up to his contract. I guarantee you that. And they're going to find no trade partners whatsoever. I don't think nobody's going to trade for Carson Wentz. Unless the Philadelphia Eagles trade with Indianapolis, because Frank Reich is there, he may want Carson Wentz back. That's if they want to spend the money. Because I know they have the cap space because Indianapolis is one of the most conservative NFL teams. I'm not talking political. They are one of the most conservative teams in the NFL as far as cap space goes and salary, right? I remember a couple of years ago they had like $100 million in salary cap and they did nothing with it. All right, so this team is very conservative when it comes to salary cap. So I could imagine they could want Carson Wentz over there when Phillip Rivers retires. But I don't see Carson Wentz having any trade value whatsoever. It's not just because his inconsistent play, as you've seen his regression in the NFL. It's his injury history as well. This guy does not finish seasons, and especially when you get into the postseason, this guy has yet to finish a postseason game. So even with the Philadelphia Eagles winning a championship, he was pretty much not a part of that. So, that being said, the Philadelphia Eagles have not fixed their problems yet. And I don't know why any Eagles fan should be rejoicing right now. These games, even if you win these games, it will not matter towards your future because at the end of the day, Jalen Hurts is not your future, and Carson Wentz, whether he's the future or not, he still has so much going towards the cap, and the Philadelphia Eagles are like $60 million above the cap next year. So they really have a huge problem there. I don't know what they're going to do. But Jalen Hurts did not fix any problems the Philadelphia Eagles have. And he is not going to fix any problems. Because even if Jalen Hurts, even if he is going to be the future, what are you going to do with Carson Wentz? Are you going to bench a $31 million quarterback? What are you going to do with Carson Wentz? You can't cut him. It's physically impossible to cut Carson Wentz. What are you going to do with Carson Wentz if Jalen Hurts starts in the future? You're still going to be screwed. You're still going to be screwed. So, that's just me, I guess, kind of taking in and absorbing all the frustration that the Eagles fans are having, right? The misery, that the destruction and demolition that they're about to go through in this 2021 offseason. As a Giants fan, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So, we are now going to move on to the state of the NFC East. We just talked about the Philadelphia Eagles and their state right now. They're currently sitting at 4-8-1, third place in the NFC East, about a half game behind the Giants at 5-8. And the Washington football team, who is at an impressive number at 6-7 right now, an impressive record. 6-7 right now, coming off two impressive wins, one being against, at the time, the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers, who have been falling off a cliff lately, and the other against the San Francisco 49ers in what looked to be a blowout, but it looked a lot closer than that. I believe this final score was like 23-15. But Washington really put up a show. Chase Young looked absolutely fantastic. He may just single-handedly lead them into the playoffs. They're going to be without Alex Smith, though. I don't know for how long Alex Smith will be out, but he did injure his bad leg, the leg that almost got amputated. So he did walk off the field with that. So, Dwayne Haskins will probably not be the answer there. Dallas beats Cincinnati. I thought everybody should know that. Everybody should have known that coming into that game. So they're currently at 4-9 at the bottom of the division. Now, this division is getting extremely close and heated. This division is getting a lot more interesting because all the teams are very, very close together. I mean, the Cowboys are but 2 games out of the lead, and they're in the basement right now, and they're at 4-9. So every team is still in the mix of it in the NFC East, and a lot of these teams are starting to beat really, really impressive opponents. Even Dallas beat Minnesota, and Minnesota seems to be a playoff team. They're a fringe playoff team this year, and they played some good football in past weeks. Dallas had that impressive win against Minnesota when Andy Dalton first came back. And then you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, they go on and beat the New Orleans Saints, who have been on a hot streak even without Drew Brees. Taysom, I don't understand why Taysom Hill was not starting in this game. Let's not go into there. And then Washington obviously beat an undefeated team. And then the Giants were 4 straight wins in. And then lay an egg against the Cardinals. But, they beat some impressive teams. I don't really think the Giants beat any impressive teams as of late, except the Seattle Seahawks, which was very surprising. But other than that, they swept the Washington football team. They beat the Eagles, and they beat Cincinnati. I mean, teams that nobody really turns their head about, right? But, I mean, it's anybody's division right now. And I think a lot of people, even though this division sucks, I think it's really drawn a lot of people into this division. And I think the NFC East is getting more attention than it probably deserves. But I love it. I love being in the mainstream hype right now. I mean, you look at First Take, you look at all these other mainstream media shows, they're all paying attention to the NFC East, and I love it. So this division is starting to heat up, and I honestly could see this division getting a lot better in 2021. Not as far as the Cowboys and the Eagles go, but I think Washington and the Giants are going to make it very, very interesting next season. So it's anybody's division. I'd love to see the Giants win the division, of course, but if the Washington football team win the division, I'm going to be pulling for them, man. I want to see the representation of the NFC East in the playoffs. So it's very tight, very tight. The Giants are beating respectable opponents now. I mean, the NFC East are beating respectable opponents now, and things just seem to be looking up for the NFC East. So it's no longer the NFC least. It's becoming the NFC East again. We'll see if they become the NFC Beast. But they're the NFC East right now. So let's move on to the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins have been looking very, very impressive in 2020. I mean, they have been the most surprising team in 2020, in my opinion. A lot of people may be saying the Browns, as they're playing right now against the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football. But I'd say it's the Miami Dolphins all the way. Miami is at a very, very quiet 8-5 right now. Who the hell knew that? I didn't even know. They were at 8-5 right now, and they hung in tight with the Kansas City Chiefs. Let me tell you, this game against the Kansas City Chiefs really showed the direction the Miami Dolphins are headed right now. Now I know they lost, but it really reminded me of the New York Giants game, Monday Night Football against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in which a rebuilding team fought against a championship caliber team. Now, Tampa Bay is not of the caliber the Kansas City Chiefs in, and I guess that really speaks to how well Miami is looking right now. But Miami really, really fought in this game. Now, they started off 10-zip in the second quarter. By the second quarter, it was 10-zip Miami. Tua Tagovailoa looks good. I have my gripes about Tua, but I think he's having a really good start to his NFL campaign. But nonetheless, Miami started 10-zip against Kansas City in the second quarter. Kansas City was getting sacked. Patrick Mahomes under pressure, getting intercepted, missing throws. Defense is starting to, lock up on as far as passing goes. It looked really good. Then they found themselves losing 28-10 by the fourth quarter. So it was 28-10. Kansas City scores 28 straight unanswered points. That's 4 touchdowns unanswered. And Miami, during that time, still remained to fight. Even though they were unsuccessful, you could see their fight, their motor just keep on going. When they made a play, they were extremely excited, even though they're down 28-10. But it wasn't like, diva excited, when a wide receiver makes a play when they're getting blown out and they just sit there and say, move the chains. I mean, they're out there with their teammates congratulating each other when they move the chains or make a good defensive play. They stood in that game and it paid off dividends. Now, like I said, they lost the game, but this final score was 33-27. They wound up scoring in the fourth quarter. They wound up scoring another, 17 points in the fourth quarter alone, down 28-10. And, then Kansas City wound up getting a safety and another field goal. But they were an onside kick away from possibly getting this game into, getting this game as a win for them. I loved what I saw from Miami, and it really, really makes me think, can the Giants replicate that next season? The Miami Dolphins are the path the New York Giants seem to be taking right now and need to continue to take into 2021. Miami had a really, really bad start of 2019. They got blown out by Baltimore 59-10. All right, and then the following week, they got blown out by the Patriots. I forgot what the score was in that game, but it really seemed to be that the Miami Dolphins were going to go 0-16 last year, right? But they wound up finishing like a strong 5-11. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was like a 5-11. It was a strong 5-11. And now they come back this year, and now they're trying to win the NFC East. I know Tom Brady is not there in New England, but the Buffalo Bills look very strong right now, and you would have thought the Buffalo Bills were going to run away with the AFC East. But the Miami Dolphins are 2 wins off of the division. Now, they may not win the division, but they're probably going to make the playoffs. So, and they're most certainly going to have a winning season off of a 5-11 season where they started off terrible and they finished off hot. And they continue that next season. The Giants need to continue that. The Giants need to get on that path. The Giants are at 5 wins right now. They're actually on better pace than the Miami Dolphins were last year, right? Because the Giants only got blown out twice this season. One against the 49ers, and the other this week against the Cardinals. Okay, just twice. They've been playing really competitive football throughout the season. And that started off against the Rams. I forgot what week that was in. Maybe that was week 6 or something like that. And they got beat 17-9. But the Giants need to continue. They need to follow that path. And I think they are going to follow that path. You look at the correlation there with Brian Flores coming from New England and Coach Joe Judge coming from New England as well. Very, very similar coaching styles. These guys are hard-nosed, very respectable guys. Okay, they did not win over the GMs and the owners for those respectable franchises just by talking X's and O's. These are blue-collar men, right? These guys are very respectable men, and they have their teams in a respectable order. All right, these teams play for their coaches. You could see Miami laying it all out on the line, staying competitive. They were not scared or intimidated of Kansas City. Kansas City came into that game 11-1. They weren't scared of Kansas City whatsoever. A rookie quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa was not scared of Kansas City to throw the ball. Those wide receivers weren't scared. Those defensive players were not scared. Jerome Baker had a 30-yard sack on Patrick Mahomes. The Miami Dolphins were not scared of Kansas City. If you're not scared of Kansas City, who would you be scared of? The Giants are starting to take that approach, and I think they're following in Miami's footsteps. And I'm not saying that they need to be a Miami 2.0. They need to be their own team. The New York Giants should not be the Miami Dolphins. They need to be the New York Giants. But it's very, very nice to see Miami succeeding from a coach Bill Belichick tree, and the Giants also coming from a Bill Belichick tree with Joe Judge. it's just nice to see Miami doing well, because that also has a chance that the Giants are going to do well, because the Giants are very, very similar to Miami, what Miami was last season. So I think I got all of my points out here. That Miami game against Kansas City was game of the week last year. Game of the week. If you would have told me Kansas City was facing Miami last season, I'd say, oh my God, who the hell would want to watch that game? It'd be a massacre. But my God, that was the game of the week last week. So I love what I saw from Miami last week, and they have a very, very bright future ahead of them. I would love to see a Giants and Dolphins Super Bowl, man. I would love to see that. Brian Flores versus Joe Judge. The two, very different and unique coaches in this new era. Trying to bring in a new era of coaches in the NFL. I would love to see a Miami Dolphins and New York Giants Super Bowl in the future. But I just got to give my hats off to Miami and got to hope that the Giants find their own path. But, look very similar to Miami and what they're doing in 2020. So I'm going to end off this podcast and talking about, of course, the New York Jets. I found myself talking about the New York Jets in last episode, but I have to talk about the New York Jets today as they lose another game, and they are 0-13. I said in my last podcast that they were 0-13. Now they are 0-13 as they fall short to the Seattle Seahawks 40-3. Now I've been doing some thinking and looking at the New York Jets, and obviously it seems like they're going to go Trevor Lawrence with the number 1 overall pick next season. That's just not even a question. If they go anything other than Trevor Lawrence, even Justin Fields, it would be a complete shock to the NFL world. But, I'm thinking positive here, right? Because I don't hate the New York Jets. I actually want to see them do well as well. Just like the Miami Dolphins, I want to see the Jets look good. Just because, I don't know. Not that I have a soft spot for the Jets, I just don't hate them, right? Just as a franchise, I want to see, because I know Jets fans. I'm friends with Jets fans. Shout out to guys like Gangrene David and Jets Central. A lot of good Jets fans out there, man. I just want to see them root for their team and actually be happy and proud of their team, because they're just not proud of and they have a right to be. They have a right not to be happy with their team right now. So I want to see the Jets do well. So I'm doing a lot of positive thinking, and I'm really excited, and Jets fans should be excited about next season. I know this team looks terrible right now, but they should be excited for next season. If they go on and replace Adam Gase with Eric Bieniemy, and they replace Sam Darnold with Trevor Lawrence, this team is already off to an amazing start to their 2021 campaign. And I think it's a good thing for both Sam Darnold and the New York Jets to part ways. It really is. That split will be the best for both of them. Sam Darnold can get a fresh start elsewhere, whether that be with, who knows, the Washington football team, the Jacksonville Jaguars, although I think they're going to get a quarterback. The Indianapolis Colts, I think, is probably the best destination for Sam Darnold with Frank Reich over there and an aging Phillip Rivers, who is obviously not the future. He can go ahead and compete with a Jacob Eason over there in Indianapolis, or if Jacoby Brissett is still over there in Indianapolis. I mean, they could have a real legitimate quarterback competition over there, should light a fire in Sam Darnold and have him compete. But I don't think Sam Darnold really cares to play with the Jets anymore. I know he came out and said he loves his future he loves being a New York Jet. I know that there was reports out there. Sam Darnold should not be with the New York Jets, and he shouldn't want to be with the New York Jets. Not just because, listen, it just didn't work out. I don't think Sam Darnold is finished in the NFL. I think he is a starting quarterback. I just think he's, again, seen ghosts. He was throwing off his back foot constantly against Seattle. And it's not like Seattle's a great defensive team right now. But he still just couldn't find anybody open. He was trying to play a little bit of hero ball. He was throwing in coverages that he should not just be throwing in, right? He almost had 6 interceptions in that game, but a lot of them were dropped. Sam Darnold just needs a fresh start. He needs all the burdens off his shoulders. He needs an opportunity where he can come to a new team, a new fan base, a new franchise, a new coaching staff, a new wide receiving core, a new running back core, a new offensive line, and just start all over. And I think it will be the biggest blessing for Sam Darnold to go ahead and move on. And for the Jets to move on, it would be the biggest blessing for them as well, because Trevor Lawrence, although I don't think Sam Darnold is a terrible quarterback, he is not a franchise-changing quarterback. And I think Trevor Lawrence is. So I think both the Jets and the Sam Darnold will benefit from parting ways in 2021. I wish both of them the best. I wish the Jets the best, and I do wish Sam Darnold the best. I think he's gotten a lot of flack this season, and undeserving flack, his whole entire career, because the Jets are just the Jets, just the Jets. So, that being said, guys, that is the podcast. We're at exactly 30 minutes, about 30 and a half minutes right now. This was, I think, a really productive podcast. I loved it. So, if you guys are listening on Spotify, make sure you guys let me know on Twitter that you listened on Spotify, at KidBlueRB27. And if you guys are listening on YouTube, how did you guys like it? You guys want to drop some suggestions of topics for episode 4, make sure you guys leave that in the comment section below. And if you guys are watching from a video clip, you guys wouldn't be watching this from a video clip. But anyway, if you guys have watched a video clip, make sure you guys support it with a like and a comment. And subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. I make Giants content, but, this is going to be a big part of the channel as well, is the Undrafted Analysts podcast. So, that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And I'm ending it like it's a video. It's a podcast. Okay, bye, guys. Later.